This video and all of its contents, including any opinions expressed by the narrator, are strictly for entertainment purposes only, and is not intended in any way as a substitute for professional services and consultation from a licensed therapist, doctor, attorney, or other licensed professional service provider. Each person must make their own life decisions, and those decisions are theirs. Welcome back to Find Your Alpha. I'm back at you this week with another terrific video story. This story is told by a 50-something-year-old guy who talks about how he got divorced back in 2020 after 24 years of marriage. And according to him, his divorce was worth every penny, even though he had to give up 50% of his assets and also pay alimony. I think he's still paying alimony, but to him it was worth it to be free of his cheating wife. So let's get into this story and see what happened here. He starts off and says, "I got divorced in 2020 after finding out my wife was cheating on me. We were married just short of 24 years when it ended. Her boyfriend was someone she met at a restaurant while waiting for a friend of hers to arrive. I found out thanks to my youngest son. Now, he didn't tell me because he didn't know until I told him. Neither did his brother. I found out because when my wife and I got iPhones, he set them up to back up to our home computer. So here's another situation where technology catches a cheater in the act. I had another story just like this a few months ago. He's a whiz with tech stuff, and so is his brother. My ex-wife and I, not so much. We know how to sign in and log into accounts, search Google, and look at Facebook, but that's about it. Neither of us have any clue about how it all works." Well, I bet your ex-wife is sorry about that now. "One night, I was poking around looking at some of the programs we never used to see what they were. Most of them were games and free things we never even clicked on before. One of them happened to be the iPhone backup system my son set up. When I clicked it, I was asked to change the password because we never logged in after he set it up. Luckily, I remembered the old one as it was the same one we used on everything. Not smart, I know, but I changed it to something different and logged on. Right away, I saw something that looked suspicious from the prior day. There must have been 40 messages between her and another cell number I didn't recognize. It stood out because all the other numbers were people I knew. When I read the messages, my heart broke. Thankfully, I was by myself as I cried like a baby. Most of the messages were from a guy to her where they were discussing the affair they were currently having. There were 2 messages in particular that broke me up. Well, let's see what those messages were. The first was him telling her how talented she was at giving J's. Oh, and we all know what J's are. Could you imagine a husband finding that out, that his wife is doing that to some other guy? She responded with a smile emoji and a set of lips. Oh. Then several messages after that, he was complaining to her about how he hated wearing protection. He said he'd give anything to go in natural. Well, of course, he told her he was clean and wanted the full experience. She responded saying that wasn't going to happen and told him we had a deal. She said that privilege was for me only. See all the planning that goes into this? This wasn't something spontaneous. They had a deal. So obviously they've been talking about this for a long time. He kept begging, and she eventually told him, never. Well, she's holding the line on that at least. Seriously, that's what she said. I think to her that somehow made what she was doing less bad. Well, she must have a warped mind if she thought that. This all happened in the summer of 2019, just a few months after we had a big party at the lodge to celebrate our 23rd anniversary. See, it doesn't matter. You could be with her for years, and out of the blue, she could cheat with someone. Now, I'm not saying every woman's going to do this, but there's a risk. I guess there's a risk with everything, though, isn't there? Again, I was really broken up as I thought we had something special. I know everyone says that, but it's true. We supported and took care of each other and raised 2 upstanding young men. We also had a great bedroom, even after years of being a married couple. Well, to her, it must not have been that great. What's crazy is her libido with me was really high all during the time she was seeing her boyfriend. So she was all juiced up. She was either being that way to cover up what she was doing with him, or maybe she was just turned on by having concurrent relations with two different men. I really don't know and probably never will. I'm going to take some heat for what I'm about to say next, but my first thought was to let the affair play out. Are you kidding me? Never do that. I loved her so much and we had been together so long, I couldn't imagine life without her and didn't want to lose her. I've done a few other stories where guys contemplated doing just this, and let me tell you, that's a huge mistake. I let it go on for another 3 weeks before taking action. When I think back now, I see how dumb that was, but I didn't then. Every time she met with him, I lost a little more of my manhood. Well, absolutely. I was quickly losing myself and began to realize she wasn't the woman I married. You think? One of my biggest regrets is that I continued having relations with her while she was carrying on with the other guy. When I think about that now, it makes me sick, yeah. But I was trying to win back her heart. She kept on seeing him and was really enjoying her little situation. Well, obviously she was. She had the best of both worlds. My breaking point came the day I saw messages where they were laughing and talking about her gagging. Oh, jeez. For some reason that got to me. Yeah. Then what pushed me over the edge was him asking if she kissed me when she came home. He was really hung up on this. Yes, guys, if your girl is having an affair, let me guarantee you, you are getting ridiculed. You're getting made fun of. You're getting belittled, just like what's going on here. She didn't answer and kept telling him to stop, but he kept asking, and eventually she responded with a set of lips. He responded back yes with a fist pump emoji. In that moment, my soul filled with hate and I got really angry. Yeah, seeing something like that would definitely set just about any man over the edge. But make sure you control that anger. He says, thankfully I managed to keep my composure. Later that night, I called my cousin who went through a nasty divorce with his first marriage. We've been close our whole lives and still remain best friends even though he now lives several states away. I told him what had been going on and asked for his advice. At first he thought I was joking because he couldn't believe my wife of all people would do that. He said he thought she was one of the good ones. Well, so did I and everyone else. After talking through it, he told me to not waste time and just file for divorce. He said he tried making it work with his first wife, and according to him, it was a disaster. They did counseling and even moved to the state where he now lives, but he couldn't get past what she did. Yeah, you can't run away from something like that. It's going to follow you wherever you go. He said he didn't get his life back until they got divorced. His words were blunt. I think he meant to say his words were blunt. But I needed to hear them. Several days after that conversation, I met with an attorney who gave me the highs and lows of divorcing. He let me know in our wonderful state, it doesn't matter if a spouse cheats. Either party can exit a marriage at any time for just about any reason, and everything normally gets divided 50-50. He also said that since we were married so long, I could expect to pay alimony for at least 10 years or longer to maintain her current living standard. Well, what about his current living standard? He said he wanted me to know this and to go home and think about it before making a final decision. He told me that over the years, he's seen so many men act out of raw emotion and anger only to regret it later when their lives imploded. I went there confident with what I had to do, but left there undecided. After thinking about it and talking to my cousin again, I decided to press forward. I needed to reclaim myself and, like my cousin, realized this was the only path to do that. And now we're at a point in this story where I want to remind you, if you enjoy listening to this channel and you're liking what you've heard so far today, be sure to hit the like button right now. That will help out the channel tremendously and help get this video seen across the world. Now let's go on with the story. During the time I was thinking things over, I was apparently acting weird and my wife picked up on it. Yeah, women can sense that, and especially in a situation like this, she's going to be watching for any cues you may give off to see if you may be, getting onto her trail. He goes on and says, she saw I wasn't myself and kept asking me what was wrong. Right after that, I noticed she was canceling dates with her boyfriend, and he was really upset about it. Yeah, she doesn't want to give up her checkbook and her safety net, so she's going to make sure that everything's okay at home before she continues on. Then one day, she sent him a message saying she was breaking off their relationship. She told him I was having some problems and she wanted to be there to support me. She said what they did was wrong and she wanted to redevote herself to me and our marriage. Well, isn't that wonderful? She told him he should do the same with his wife. So this was a married man she was fooling around with. Well, he wasn't expecting this and started desperately begging her not to do that. He said he was in love with her and couldn't live without her. He said he'd leave his wife right now if she'd leave me. He told her their relationship made him feel alive again for the first time in years, and he wasn't going to let it go without a fight. See, this is where things can become very dangerous because you get into a situation like this where this guy is lock, stock, and barrel in love with this woman. And, you may have a crime of passion or something that may come out of a situation like this. She messaged him back and told him she was sorry for everything, adding they should have never let things go this far. You think? He kept begging to see her one more time, and she was ignoring him. Eventually, she sent him a simple replay. Now, I think he meant to say reply. I hate it when these people misspell words. Saying, "I'm sorry, goodbye." And that was the end of their messages. I'll be honest and admit, if she'd done this right after I found out, I would have let it pass and we'd still be married. So he would have been willing to just sweep this under the rug in order to preserve their marriage and not even bring it up to her. Gentlemen, that's a huge mistake. Never do that because that's going to eat you alive inside. He goes on and says, fortunately, things did happen that way. He says, seeing in writing what she was doing with him and how she really felt about me changed my opinion of her forever and did damage that could never be undone. The way I was ridiculed is something I'll never forget. Yeah, it's bad enough, man, when they're cheating on you and just totally trashing you. But then when they're ridiculing you to the other guy and the other guy's making fun of you, for some reason that just takes it to a whole nother level. Once the attorney had everything ready, I sat her down and told her I knew everything. She had no idea I knew and completely lost it. There were lots and lots of tears and apologies while I managed to remain calm. I think my attitude made her even more upset. It did because she wanted you to react with emotion like she was. So when you didn't, in her mind, she was thinking, uh-oh, he doesn't feel strongly about me anymore. He doesn't have those deep emotions for me like I thought he had or like he had before. I gave her time to get herself together before telling her I was filing for divorce. By that time, I was at a point where I didn't give a damn, and telling her that felt liberating. I had reached a point where I was ready to give up everything to reclaim my dignity. Well, it's about time. Through it all, I treated her with respect and kindness and never once raised my voice. I did, however, take great satisfaction in watching her perfect life unravel. Selling the house she so loved and seeing her reputation ruined with everyone was something I found pleasurable. Well, you shouldn't feel that way, but to be honest with you, I think most people that were in his shoes would feel that way. And you'd get some level of pleasure seeing her going through that. Unhealthy, I know, but that's what I felt. In the weeks and months that followed, she must have told me 5,000 times that she was sorry and begged me for another chance. She offered me whatever I wanted, but it was too late. We put the house up for sale while the divorce was still in progress, and it sold fast. This forced us both to find new places to live. The moving day is when the reality of everything hit me hard and was the first time I second-guessed my decision. That night, as I sat alone in an empty apartment stacked with moving boxes, I sat there and thought, what have I done? It was a real low point. The cautionary words of my attorney warning me not to act on emotion rang in my head because that's exactly what I'd done. I almost backed out of the divorce and many times was close to calling my wife and telling her to come back, but I managed to keep it together. Each day I got a little stronger, and after a few months I realized I was making the right decision, though it was very painful. She tried to reconcile right up to the final day. She didn't want anything and was willing to sign whatever my lawyer put in front of her. I wouldn't have any of that and wouldn't even entertain the thought. I wanted her to get whatever she legally deserved and was willing to pay alimony forever if I had to. What are you, crazy? I wanted to make sure I took care of her so I could exit the marriage with a clear conscience and my head held high. So this is obviously a good guy here. It was also another way for me to make her feel even worse about what she'd lost. Like my cousin, once I was free, I experienced a true sense of tranquility and freedom. Like I'd come through something really difficult but ended up in a better place on the other side. I've been a free man now for over 4 years and enjoying spending time with my sons and new grandson. My ex and I get along well and don't hold any grudges, but I really don't see each other much anymore. Maybe once every 6 months or so at a family function. Well, you say here neither one of you hold any grudges. Why would she hold a grudge against you? She's the one who did you dirty and ruined your marriage. You didn't do anything wrong. She's told the boys and my mother that she hopes we can get back together one day, but I've made it clear that wasn't in the cards. That chapter in my life is closed. During the last 2 years, I've dipped back into the dating pool a few times, and it's been different. I've gone out with a few divorcees my age, and it wasn't for me. I just wasn't attracted to them, even though they were very attractive women. The thought of dating someone else's ex-wife with adult kids just wasn't for me. Yeah, I can understand that, because dating someone who already had a life, had a full life, she had a husband or maybe multiple husbands and has adult kids, you're really getting into something totally different there. At least it's not right now, he says. Most recently, I dated a single woman in her early 30s. Now listen to this. We went hot and heavy for a few months there and had a lot of fun together. He says, then I found out she was dating 2 other guys at the same time as me. So I broke it off with her. So there you go. He's dating a modern woman. And anytime you're going to be dating a woman who's still single in her 30s, she's going to have, let's say, a lot of experience and probably a lot of male suitors. He says that lifestyle is not for me. I'm a traditional guy. Plus, I don't want to get a disease. Well, that's a big risk in today's day and age, isn't it? My ex also tried dating and didn't like it either. She's gone out on a few dates, but has now pulled herself off the market. She told my son she's just not interested in other men. Uh-oh, so you got both this guy and his ex-wife off the market. They don't like dating, and they're going to be running into each other at family functions. You better be careful there, mister, because you might get reeled back into that relationship with her. From what she's told them, she's never communicated with her boyfriend since the day she broke it off with him by text. Oh, are you kidding me? I guarantee she's been in communication with him at least once, or probably more than likely multiple times. And who knows, they may still have been carrying on for some time. Maybe they're still carrying on today. That's why she doesn't want to go out with anybody else. My son's told me her boyfriend's wife found out some way, and the wife ended up divorcing him. I asked them if they told her, and they swear they didn't. I think they might have, but they say no. He says, maybe my ex did, who knows? At this point, it doesn't matter and I don't care. I've moved on. I can now state with confidence the divorce was worth every penny, and that's the end of his story. Now, this is a situation where he did everything wrong in the early part of this story. He was going to let this affair just pass, and he let it go on for like 3 weeks before he put his foot down and took action and confronted her. But once he did, after that, he woke up because he saw what was going on. Not only saw what she was doing with him, but what they were saying about him and how he was being ridiculed, and that pushed him over the edge. And unfortunately, for a lot of nice guys out there, they have to go through something like this for them to wake up and see things how they really are. And after that, he took action, he followed through with the divorce, and now, like he says, even though he had to give up a lot, he's glad he did it and it was worth every penny. And now I want to take a look at what I think are the morals of the story. The first one, longevity doesn't guarantee loyalty. Perfect example here. He's married for 23 years, assuming those were 23 great years and she never cheated. Then out of the blue she does. Again, not saying every woman's going to do that, but potentially there's always a risk. And I guess women could say that about men as well. People are human, and some people have that cheating gene, and whenever it gets triggered, things can go left of center. Next, never let cheating just play out. A strong man would never do that. And a weak man, if he does it, is going to be torn up inside and it's going to destroy him. So never put up with that. Next, if you're being cheated on, you're also being ridiculed. Every woman who is cheating out there, and probably every man who is cheating out there, they're saying things about their significant other that are not flattering. And that significant other who's getting cheated on, no matter how good they are, they're getting made fun of. And it's disgusting, but let me tell you, it's happening. And finally, it's better to be alone than to be with someone who can't be trusted. Once someone has betrayed you like this, you can't trust them, and therefore, it's better to be out on your own than it is to be with someone like that. So those are my thoughts, and now I want to hear from you. What did you think of this story, and how do you think this guy handled the situation? Have you ever been in a situation like this? Tell us about it in the comments. Also be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to this channel, follow me on X, and I will talk to you on the next one.